So we got one of our sisters that worked at a Wells Fargo bank, and she worked in the financial, protection department. And she's going to bring something to light about how the banks view black people in the area of the crime of money laundering. Let's go ahead and roll that.
What's a dark reality of your job and/or industry that outsiders don't know?
The U.S. banking system places more scrutiny on the checking and savings accounts of black and brown people. At Wells Fargo Bank, where I first became an anti-money laundering analyst, we used to have what was called an anti-money laundering risk score. Basically, how likely a customer is to use their checking account to launder money. And it was a point system on a scale of 0 to 1,000. And I noticed that me and a lot of my coworkers noticed that these scores were way higher for black and brown people, or all kinds of people of color, from low to mid income in comparison to their white counterparts, despite being in the same jobs in the same industries. This article in the New York Times explains a lot more.
One thing I like about TikTok is that many people are really putting out some good information that we all need to know. So as a black person, you may not even be a rich person. You just trying to pay your bills, and yet the banks are looking at you like you some sort of criminal laundering money. A lot of people who launder money have a lot of money to spend. That's why they're laundering it and they're hiding it. You understand what I'm saying? And the real criminals that's laundering money, they're not going to launder money just through a bank like that. They got different ways of doing that, even legally. But why is it that black people are ranking higher than even their own? But like I said, everything falls back to racism. Everything they do is saturated with anti-black racism. Because when you start asking questions, say, well, let's see the data that you have that show your black customers are engaging in money laundering.
The U.S. banking system places more scrutiny on the checking and savings accounts of black and brown people. At Wells Fargo Bank, where I first became an anti-money laundering analyst, we used to have what was called an anti-money laundering risk score. Basically, how likely a customer is to use their checking account to launder money. And it was a point system on a scale of 0 to 1,000. And I noticed that me and a lot of my coworkers noticed that these scores were way higher for black and brown people, or all kinds of people of color, from low to mid income in comparison to their white counterparts, despite being in the same jobs in the same industries.
Because in order for black people to rank high like that, you have to have, this many people was money launderer in this case, this case, in this case. And usually they don't have that. Matter of fact, they have the opposite data that show that black people don't be out here doing nothing like that. Because we can't get away with nothing in this country. White people can, but not us. So we know we gotta walk the chalk line and be on the straight and narrow. We know that. But see, this is why, like I said, their financial institutions, let's say, it's full of racists, full of them. Remember, we had one that we covered where the man said that a black person with the same high credit score as a white person cannot get a business loan, but a white person with a low credit score can get a business loan. And the reason why they can get a business loan with a low credit score, he just looked like he would really pay us back, or he looked like this, or I feel he or she would do this, just because of the color of their skin. Not any kind of evidence, not payment history, not credit history, just because of the color of their skin, they're given loans. That's why when I say this system in America is rigged against a black man and woman, it's truly rigged. Because if we had an equal and fair system, that couldn't happen. But the only way we have an equal and fair system, the government would have to pass a law forcing the banks to report everything to them, outside of things like, any payment that come in over $10,000 and all that. No, I'm talking about when it comes to loans, home loans, car loans, Now, they'll give black people a car loan all day long, but when it comes to a business loan and a house loan, that's gonna giving you some problems sometimes. But let me know what y'all think about, this here, because like I said, economic sabotage to me is one of the worst things that you can do to anybody. Because at least if somebody punch you physically, you can heal from that. But economic sabotage, it'll put you in the poorhouse.